Hey guys, it's Zara and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys got some tea or some coffee with you, and let's talk about some books. Today I'm going to explain to you how I rate my books. Now, it may not be the most conventional way or a way that makes sense, but this is just how I've been rating my books for a very long time without even realizing. I'll share it with you today. So if I rate a book a 1 out of 5 stars, that means I kind of pushed through it because I didn't want to DNF it. I just wanted to really just finish and get over with it. Never gonna think about it, didn't like it, nothing about it was appealing to me, but I couldn't give it lower than a 1 star. My 2-star rating is usually if it wasn't that bad a book, but I just didn't enjoy it. Again, it would be like if I'm just dragging myself through the book because I didn't want to DNF it. Now for the 3 out of 5 stars, books are rated 3 out of 5 stars, and here's the reasoning. So if it's a good book and I liked it, even if it wasn't memorable or if I'm never going to read it again, give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Now I could have loved the book, but if I wasn't going to reread it, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 stars. And my 5 out of 5 star books are the ones that I will reread multiple times. Now these books aren't necessarily books that I would recommend to anyone, or it might be books that like most people wouldn't give a 5 out of 5 stars, but I absolutely love them and I know I'm going to reread them again and again, which is why I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. Some examples of my 5-star reads: Hush Hush. Would I recommend this to anyone? No. But have I read it multiple times since I first read it in middle school? Yes, which is why I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Another 5 out of 5 stars is The Love Hypothesis. This I would recommend, and I talk about it a lot to a lot of my friends. I've made people read it before. I loved it. I will continue to love it. I've already read it about 5 times since the first time I read it last year, which is why I gave it a 5. Another unconventional book that I gave a 5 stars that most people might not agree with is The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. Again, I read this in middle school and I have loved it ever since, and I read it multiple times since then. It's been many years. Would I recommend it to anyone? No, but I absolutely loved it. I love her writing and I love most of her books, but this one just has stuck with me for all these years. Another book that I gave a 5 stars was my Dark Vanessa. This isn't a book that I usually read. It was recommended on TikTok, so I gave it a try and it was so good. Definitely check trigger warnings if you're going to read it. It's not a book that I would reread, but it was amazing. It was so good, so well written, that I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because I thought it deserved it for sure, but it's not a book that I would necessarily reread. Another book I gave 4 stars was The Trouble with Hating You. I have reread this book about 2 or 3 times since I first read it a year or 2 ago. I didn't give it a 5 stars because I didn't love it. Like, there wasn't every aspect that I loved. There was a few things that I didn't like, but it was still really enjoyable. The fact that I could read it a few times meant it deserved a 4 stars for me. One last example of what a 3-star book would be for me is The Vanishing Star. This is the second book to the Truly Devious series. This is a murder mystery series, which was really exciting to read because I don't usually read those type of books. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars because although it was really captivating and I absolutely loved it, I thought the plot was so interesting. I loved that it was a mystery series. It's my very first time reading a mystery series. I didn't know how it was going to go. I still gave it a 3 stars because I wasn't going to reread it. I didn't love it enough to reread, so I gave it a 3 stars, which for me is just average. Like, I might still remember this book later on. I might still recommend it, but it's not something that I loved so much that I wanted to reread, so I gave it a 3 stars.